Welcome to Tradespoon. My name is Mark Rapel. I'm CEO and founder of Tradespoon, and today we're going to talk about technology pullback, options expiration, what to expect in the next few weeks, next few months. Answer any questions about your, if you have any questions or about Tradespoon subscription. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is my brief bio. For those of you who are new, my background is in technology. I always work in the fintech space. As a CTO and executive of several broker dealers, MediaOcean, Big Six hedge fund. Started managing, some of the companies went public. I was fortunate enough that they went public and decided to manage my own money using the technology that I've built throughout the years. Assemble a team of financial engineers that have PhD in economics, physics, mathematics, and we build new models and to help me trade and to help all of our subscribers trade. Keith Harwood joined me 2 years ago. He brings a lot of knowledge in market making, options market making. He worked at several hedge funds as a trader, as a portfolio manager. So he has a vast knowledge of trading. So that's about us. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. Trading stock and options involve risk. I'm going to go to specific trade ideas. If you haven't seen the slide before, optionsscreen.com. I encourage you to visit that link to understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not registered with FINRA nor SEC. I'm showing you what I do in my own account based on my own risk tolerance level for general education information purposes only. All right. Before we jump into a trading plan, let's talk about current market conditions and see what to expect. All right. So looking at the ten-year yield, let's look at the weekly chart. Sum it up for this week. So yield is stable, right? We did have a pullback, sharp pullback on fear of recession. Inflation data come in better than expected. Employment data come in better than expected. So rates pull back, but now stable. Not making new lows, not making new highs, trading in this well-defined range for almost a year. So that's good. Dollar is stable. It did pull back. It did make new lows, but continue to grind lower. So you see a benefit in stocks like emerging markets, small caps are leading, even value stocks. A lot of it has to do with the weaker dollar. High yield, stable, not making new lows. That's positive. VIX, we have VIX expiration today. So VIX expired today, Wednesday, and then today we have equity expiration. So you have VIX was as high as almost 23, 24. Now it's back below, well, right at the 20, 19 was the. So VIX is stable. Again, today is expiration, third Friday of every month. You have options expiration, so expect more volatility in the market. As of right now, value stocks ending up basically in consolidation, not making new highs, but staying at the same level. Equal weighted S&P is stable, almost at all-time high. QQQ continues to underperforming. It looks like we're going to close, hopefully in green, assuming we're going to close at this level. Assuming we're going to close at this level, we have a green candlestick, and the 590, 587, 590 level for now is holding. We've been dancing around this level since beginning of September, right? In the range. So we're in the lower part of this range, but now we're bouncing back. Still below 100-day moving average, still below 50-day moving average. So it's a pretty bearish price pattern, right? It is a pretty bearish price pattern that on one side you can say, well, it's oversold, right? We're at 200-day moving average. We're at October, November lows. So market is oversold, and it should bounce back higher, right? On the other hand, you can say, well, but we've been trading below 50-day moving average for the past few weeks. And if we're not making new highs on better than expected inflation, better than expected employment, better than expected earnings, well, then how are we going to go higher, right? So it's both valid questions. You can argue both sides. I think it will resolve to the upside because of the broadening of participation, small caps, value stocks. But a lot of it has to do with the news, right? So the next news is potentially bombing Iran, right? That could spark volatility in the market. So we just have to wait and see. So that's QQQ. Semiconductors are at all-time high, consolidating. No new signal, but we're still at all-time high. So that's positive. Small caps are close to all-time high, not going anywhere for the past 6 weeks, consolidating. So that is also positive. And looks like gold is rebounding, no new signal, and silver seems like finding support around 70 level for now. Not making new lows in the past 4 weeks, which is also positive. And emerging market continues to grind higher. Looks like it's trying to break out to new highs, and emerging market is up 1% as well. Any questions? Lloyd, you raised your hand. You can type inside of the questions. Like, I don't see any questions, but you can type inside of the questions and I should be able to see it. So let me know if you can find it. Should be, I know some people complain about the questions, but there should be a tab or somewhere, maybe it's hidden under the desktop, the GoToWebinar application where you can find questions. So let me know if you're able to find it and type inside of the question. For now, I don't see any questions unless I'm missing something. Let me know if you guys can hear me. You should be able to hear me because I see green, but let me know if you have any questions. Kevin, welcome. Can you hear me? Please type in if you have a question. All right, so how do we help on Tradespoon? We have different, might take gold and silver. As long as the dollar continues to be weak, I think silver and gold is still in strong uptrend, but obviously we have a gamma squeeze, right? Lack of liquidity. So I'm a buyer into pullbacks. So I do have a long silver position right now. I think there's a limited, not limited, but there's less room to the downside than to the upside. And I think eventually, it will resolve to the upside. So, but it could be weeks, it could be months. The good news for now, 4 weeks in a row, we're not making new lows. And assuming we're going to close at this level, we have a green candlestick. Obviously, next 2 weeks is important to have a follow through and not undercut the lows. Because if we undercut the lows, well, 60, right? This is 65 strike. So 60, if we undercut 60 strike, then, it could be 50, it could be 40, right? That would be negative. But I think you buy into pullbacks for silver and gold, especially if there is an escalation in Middle East and Iran. Good. So at least you guys can hear me. I can see questions. Lloyd, let me know if you figure out the questions part, how to ask questions. All right. So how do we help? On active trader, so we have models. So basically, the way I think about Tradespoon, we have 3 categories of what you can get out of Tradespoon. One is the free education. We have getting started guide. We have newsletters that you will receive twice a week. We have webinar recordings that you can find any topic, technical analysis, options trading, advanced options trading, portfolio management. Literally, we've been doing this. I've been doing this for now 14 years. So there's 14 years worth of content that you can find. So I encourage you to look at the free content. In terms of paid content, 2 categories. One is portfolios that Keith and I are managing, right, under Vlad's portfolio. And the other one is tools and picks for you to manage your own portfolio if you already have trading plan. So active trader, weekly trader, and monthly trader are basically signals. So active trader is aggressive, right? Active, hence the name active. Model makes a prediction for the next couple of days, right? So it basically says BG, Bunge Limited, is an uptrend, right? Agricultural products are in strong uptrend. Amgen Biotech is an uptrend, and some of the industrials like GE Vernova. And every day you get signals. You can day trade them. If you're doing day trading, the model suggests 1% move. I mean, you can adjust. Amgen is more volatile than BG. So maybe Amgen, you would do 2%. If you're doing day trading, you would have to adjust for the beta. But in general, it's a 1% move. Suggestion is to break the trades in 2 entry points, entry 1, entry 2. And you're either looking for 1% gain, 120 to 121, or you're looking for 1% stop loss. You can do it with options, right? You can do the same thing with options. If you need leverage, you can just click on options tab. And same signals, same entry and exit points, is just you're a lot more leverage, right? You're still looking for 1% move in underlying stock, right? So $1.15 from 560 to 680, that would be your strategy if you're using options, right? But the exit, you look at the underlying stock. If you hold in more than 1 day, if you hold in a couple days, then I would make it a little bit wider, right? Maybe you look for 2%. Strategy A and B, you look at the pre-market, right? If the market is down, then you probably 115 plus 680 would be, you wait for 122. But if the market is not down, then strategy B, right? So pre-market, it's very important to check pre-market futures. Or like today, right? You can see BG, what was suggested price? Sorry, stock. So suggested entry price 120.59, right? So you go to BG, and when I show this in live trading room, when you're in live trading room, you can see some of that thought process. But let's look at 5-minute chart. So market open. Usually I wait 15 minutes, 3 candlesticks, right? So you wait for 3 candlesticks, and suggested price is 120.59. Today we did not get to 120.59. We didn't have a pullback, right? This is model. So yesterday's close, 123.49 is the entry price. So if you entered at 123.49 here, or waited for 15 minutes and entered here, I mean, you probably break even at this point, right? So that's how you would trade this signal, right? And same thing with Amgen, right? Idea is to split the trades into 2. Right, we talked about that. And I would propose not to trade more than 4 active positions at a time with maximum loss of 2.5%. I would probably dedicate it a separate strategy or a separate account for this strategy, right? So that's active trader. And weekly trade is similar. It's just instead of every day, the model runs every Sunday, and every Sunday, this Sunday publish, on Monday buy Caterpillar, right? Same thing. You can wait for the predicted low 764, right? Or you could enter it at 774, right? Based on the market conditions this time it's Tuesday, right? So same thing. You would go Caterpillar, look at 1-hour chart. When was the Monday? Monday we were off, so Tuesday, right? So the market opened on Tuesday. Wait for 15 minutes, right? Maybe you entered 760. What was suggested price? 764. Right, and then it would be up. Well, now it's kind of flat. So that's how you would trade Caterpillar. You can sell put spread, you can buy debit call spreads, or you can just buy a stock. But that's how you would use these signals: active trader, weekly trader, and monthly trader. Notice that weekly trader, it's 2.5% stop loss. If you buy at 764, then 2.5% would be around $15. Stock forecast toolbox is the model that you can use to optimize your entry and exit points for our signals or for the stocks that you are trading. You can see that spiders still trading in a downtrend for the 10 days. So model basically predicted for the next 10 days, we're probably not going to see new highs, right? 690, a little bit bearish bias. And support is around 670, right? So we're trading somewhere between 670 and 690 on SPY. And the idea for now that there's, spiders are slightly bearish tone, right? So we're trading 690, 696, and 670. That's you. And we're kind of in the middle of this range, trying to break, make new highs today. So that's stock forecast toolbox. You can do 10-day analysis. You can type in, NVIDIA announcing earnings next week, right? A lot of people say, well, earnings season is over. The final straw is NVIDIA. Where NVIDIA is going to go, the rest of the market is going to go. That doesn't always work that way, but definitely technology is oversold. Fear of AI. If NVIDIA gets to all-time high, then QQQ is going to rally next week. If NVIDIA is going to be a disappointing earnings, then it's going to sell off, right? We had AMAT recently announcing earnings. AMAT is doing good, right? But there were Mrs. Texas Instrument, good earnings. In general, SMH is at all-time high. So, semiconductors are doing well. They are at all-time high. So the question is, how is the market going to resolve itself? So that's stock forecast toolbox. You can also zoom into 1 hour or 6 months based on your time frame and how long you hold in position. But if you look at the 6 months prediction, you can see that NVIDIA is, NVIDIA is in strong uptrend. Model sees that the uptrend is not broken, and we're going to potentially take out 200, maybe this earnings, maybe next earnings. But in the next 3 months, based on the current momentum, NVIDIA breaks out. That means that in the next few months, then QQQ is probably going to resolve that consolidation that we're talking. And a lot of people join later. And thank you guys for joining. BJ, John, Kevin, Coffee, Lloyd, Renata, Rodney, Ron, Tim. We have a lot of new people. But we're trading below 100-day moving average and 50-day moving average. And the question is, are we going to resolve to the downside where we test 200-day moving average, 580, maybe lower? Or are we going to try to at least reclaim 50-day moving average? Today is expiration week, so we'll see. Any questions? So that's NVIDIA, right? Interest rates are supportive, right? I said interest rates are doing well. High yield is doing well, right? Not selling off. The spreads are still tight between junk bonds and treasuries, and VIX slowly pulling back, right? Today's expiration, so we'll see where we're going to close, but we're slowly resolving and going lower on VIX. Any questions? So that's stock forecast toolbox. If you look at, so that's 6 months or 1 month's prediction. We also have a lot of people like companies. You can put your own portfolio, so stocks that you're watching. So I'm watching today Duke Energy, GEV, HP. These are all the signals from today that I'm watching. You can put your own signals, your own symbols, watch list that you watch, and we'll give you our predicted price, right? Where we're trading relative to that range, prior high, prior low. But the idea is Amgen is a signal, 375, you might want to consider buying, 390 selling, right? These are the predicted prices for Amgen, right? So that's, and company screener, also a lot of people like it because it gives you, it updates every first of every month. These are long-term predictions and basically shows you which sectors potentially you want to invest, right? So you have a strong momentum behind semiconductors. This data was posted on the 1st of February, right? It's going to get refreshed on March 1st. So obviously energy is in strong uptrend, semiconductors are in strong uptrend, internet companies, some of the internet companies are in strong uptrend, metals and miners, right, is in strong uptrend. So these are the sectors that potentially you can drill into them and maybe look at which of this, silver is leading, right? Silver, gold. You click on silver. Okay, SIL, right? So then maybe you want to invest into SIL, silver miners. Any questions? So that's Stock Forecast Toolbox. We talked about weekly trading. In terms of real-time trading, we have Elite Circle. So I encourage you to try Elite Circle. You can actually see all of my positions. I discussed them in the live trading room, all of my orders, and it's combination. So I'm long CAR, right? So some of the industrials, you can see my orders, my positions. Industrials are doing well. CAR is catching a bit. You can also see it's a combination of stock and option trades. A lot of people ask, Vlad, do you trade stock or do you trade options? I trade both. So I do once a week, twice a week, I do earnings strategy. So in this week, I sold Walmart Iron Condor, right? Walmart Iron Condor. Walmart did not move beyond one standard deviation, right? Taking advantage of elevated volatility. It's still trading in the range. So this was a profitable trade, closed Walmart. T-Mobile, right? I entered T-Mobile using option spread this week. So I have a T-Mobile position, right? So I have a spread to 10 to 15 spread that expires next Friday, right? And we'll see if T-Mobile is able to hold this gap or not. So it's a combination of both stock and option trades that I do every day. And you can participate in live trading room. If you don't have time for live trading room, morning bell and closing bell, you can watch the recordings. I encourage you to watch the recordings because this is very useful information and it can help you navigate market volatility and explain you why I get into the certain trades and how I manage these positions. So these are the recordings, and you can watch you can go to Trader Log to actually see trades from today. And enter your phone number or Discord ID and you'll get SMS messages. Any questions on Elite Circle? Premium portfolio is where I trade spreads. So like T-Mobile was a trade, ExxonMobil was last week. Robo Investor is where I trade only stocks. So if you're only interested in a stock portfolio, more of a longer term, then that would be in the Robo Investor trade. Any questions? Renata, is Tesla in uptrend? Well, let's ask our model. $10 days, it sees uptrend. Not a strong uptrend, but kind of range bound. Long term, if the question is long term, 6 months, kind of a neutral. Kind of neutral. It doesn't see a lot of momentum above 500 level in Tesla. So this is our AI model. Right? Basically saying we're not going to make new all-time highs. We could break 400 level and 350. Kind of reflecting current market conditions. So I would say, I mean, we did break this. If you look from this March lows of last year, we clearly broke the trend, the uptrend. Right? So longer term, if you look from almost a year, we did break this. So you need to resolve to the upside, right? This is basically a ascending triangle, which was resolved to the downside. So Tesla, as long as we're below this trend line, below the 100-day moving average and 50-day moving average, I would be a seller into the rallies on Tesla. But a lot of it has to do with QQQ, right? QQQ is very similar price pattern. It's below 50-day to 100-day moving average. We'll see where we're going to close, but it looks like we might potentially, retest at least 100-day moving average, right? So, I mean, we need to get above 620 on S&P, on QQQ. So the question is, will we be able to do this? Personally, I have a bullish bias. I think we will resolve to the upside. Sorry about that. But, it depends on the news. Right? Today's expiration looks like market is doing well. But again, next week, after NVIDIA earnings, you'll probably get your answer, right, in terms of Tesla and some of these technology stocks. Sorry about that. All right. That's all I have for today. Supreme Court rule against Trump tariffs today. Kevin, yeah, I mean, we'll see if, sorry about that. Yeah, we'll have to see about the Supreme Court decision, right? War, potentially bombing of Iran. All of these are uncertainties that the market does not like, and hence the reason QQQ is below 100-day moving average, right? So at this point, I would still consider hedging. As long as we're below 630, I think it makes sense to be either market neutral or slightly bearish. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much. All eyes are NVIDIA earnings. Expiration is today. Expect more volatility, right? It looks like at least right now we're resolving to the upside, but things can change very quickly. All right, thank you very much and have a great weekend. Thank you for joining. We had a lot of people today, so this is great. And enjoy your weekend. Coinbase. I'm not sure is the Samuel what means Renata. Coinbase is like we had a question about today. Coinbase is similar to Bitcoin. I mean, it's trying to go higher. Let's see, how's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is flat. I don't think if Bitcoin continues to underperform, I don't think Coinbase is going to outperform. So far, it's a weak rebound. We talked about, I mean, if next week after NVIDIA earnings we're still going higher on Coinbase, you have a clearly defined stop loss, right? 140. 140 is your stop loss, but we could get to 240 or 200, right? So that's how I would look at this setup. But as a trader, you can do anything, right? I would probably go long on Coinbase with a clearly defined one. If it's undercut the lows, I'm out. If you're a long-term investor, I would be a seller into the rally for now. There's just too much damage done in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining, and I will see you soon. Thank you.